I'm here at our ministry center. It's the first night of Hanukkah, the 8-day festival of dedication or feast of dedication. We read about it in the New Testament as Christian believers in John chapter 10 when Jesus went up to the temple to observe the feast of the dedication. So Hanukkah is really as much a holiday for Jews as well as Christians and all people because it has a great lesson to teach. It teaches us that when we stand on our deepest principles, our most sacred convictions, and we have the blessing of God, we can win against insurmountable odds. And that was really the story. If you go back to 168 BC, when the Assyrian Greeks had occupied Palestine and subjugated the Jews, they had restricted their freedoms, told them they had to live like Greeks, they had to worship the Greek gods, they had to give homage, that is, spiritual homage to the emperor. Only after that could they observe their own religion. Well, a very courageous band of Jews rose up. They said no. They wanted their freedom to worship the one true God, and with God's blessing and driven by their deepest convictions and the most precious principles they had, they were able to gain victory over insurmountable odds. They were vastly outnumbered by the Syrian Greeks, and yet they were able to retake the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, sanctify it, and reinstitute the worship of the one true God. And that's what we remember during the Feast of the Dedication. Now, one of the ways we do that is by lighting the Hanukkah menorah, or the traditional candelabra. And there are 8 days, so there are 8 candles. We begin with 1 candle only on the first night. We add a candle each night and light an additional candle each night. Now, if you were looking over my shoulder, I would start that from right to left because we read Hebrew, right to left. Now, that isn't backwards. Remember, Hebrew predates English, so it's we English readers who read things backwards. Hebrew begins right to left, and that's why we begin with the candle on the right, and we move to the left each night, lighting an additional candle and saying traditional prayers with, now I'll light this, if I can get the match to start. Nope. Okay, there we go. And this is the servant candle, it's called. It's there only to help us light the other 8 candles of the festival. And as we do, I will pray some prayers out of the Union Prayer Book. This is often called the Siddur in Hebrew. And this prayer book is old. It belonged to my uncle, Robert Schenck, my namesake. He died in service to his country, flying for the Air Force over Korea. He had flown a record number of missions and was well decorated as a B-17 bomber pilot over Europe during World War II. Decided after he got out he hadn't given enough to his country, so he re-upped and died shortly after. I was the next born male in the family, so I received his name to perpetuate his memory. I'm very honored by that, and so I do this tonight in memory of my uncle, Captain Robert L. Schenck. These are the traditional prayers that we pray as we light the candles of Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlit ner shel Hanukkah. Praise be thou, O Lord our God, ruler of the world, who has sanctified us by thy commandments and bidden us kindle the Hanukkah lights. A second prayer, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, sha'asa nisim la'avotenu bayamim hahem batzman chazeh. Praise be thou, O Lord our God, ruler of the world, who didst wondrous things for our fathers in days of old at this season. And a third prayer prayed only on the first night of Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, shechechianu v'kiyamanu v'hegianu latzman hazeh. Praise be thou, O Lord our God, ruler of the world, who has granted us life, sustained us, and permitted us to celebrate this joyous festival. And I encourage you to celebrate this joyous festival, Jews and Christians alike, and all people who value freedom, and especially the freedom to worship the one true God. Happy Hanukkah.